centered. So the majority of them have the
Is that
clockwise, except he has seen some instances, and there are papers about this, where there are certain corals that start out clockwise and then partway up the stalk they switch to counterclockwise and then switch back to clockwise.
Weird.
So there's some speculation that that's due to a possible predation injury or something like that. But I don't think it's really known what causes that. So
interesting.
yeah, that's what
Really cool question, viewer.
Very cool. Yeah, thank you for sending that in.
Yep, there's a little fish on the bottom.
Bye, fish.
Kylie, I think we could get rid of that. We might be able to get rid of that flare with a little tilt up or down if you get a second and you want to play with it. But
Sure.
No. Thanks for trying.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there it goes.
Whew. Good work.
I feel better.
Ooh, some bigger tracks. Or at least they look bigger to me.
There's a fish on the right.
Sure.
Oh, that's that shrimp.
Yeah, it creeps up pretty fast. Yep.
Nope, it's a fish.
That looks like a fish.
Okay.
Looks like a halosaur.
Yeah, it looks like it.
It does
It'll
look like
kind
a
of maintain it for
halosaur.
me.
Does 0.3 knots work for you guys for a line? Alright, roger that.
That jellyfish in the auger shield? Yeah, it is gone.
Tenophore.
Tenophore?
Yes.
That's what it says.
There's another fish. Two fish.
Oh, hey, fish.
Okay.
Ah, hello.
That was either a shrimp or a tiny squid that just went by. I'm not sure which.
Okay.
What kind of fish do we think this is?
I don't know. Is
I
it?
don't know.
Okay.
Is it a tiny shark?
I was just thinking that because of the way the tail looked.
Shark-like.
And you can still see it in Argus view. Looks pretty neat.
And there it goes. So very different than what we were looking at yesterday in terms of the features that we are looking at.
A Halthurian.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Alright, we are tracking our line.
There's a couple more of those
Yeah.
bottom fish.
Can we get a zoom on one of those, please?
We sure can try.
This one's moving.
Zoom on the fish.
Yes,
please.
please.
Coming in.
So like lasers off.
I'm wondering if that's a tiny shark.
It really.
There was another one.
Coming wide.
You can see the other one in Argus.
Yeah, fishy, fishy, fishy.
Running
I
away.
could try to snap in.
Look, there's
at some
another
point.
one, another thing coming.
Uh-oh.
Oh, they're
Tails
gonna
over.
Stand
make a
off.
zoom.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
They definitely.
Huh, maybe not a shark, might be a fish.
See if it's in Steve's handy guide.
He only
Nope,
has
this is
corals.
all corals.
Yeah.
Probably won't be in the guide.
I have my notes out from what he was talking about, and that one's not ringing a bell with any of these descriptions.
So I'm noticing the meso cam is not in the same position. Is that because
It's not on the vehicle.
it's not on the vehicle? Good to know.
So very different position.
There's a big one to the port side
I think
of
it's just.
her.
I think it's just higher.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought it
high
was
up, I
a
think.
giant one. I was so excited.
I think it's just closer to Argus.
Try and bump
Yeah.
down a little bit. You're coming down actually. That's fine. Yeah. That's a kind of a sweet spot there.
There's another halosaur.
Yeah, so you can see it's easy for you to outpace the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'll just ask the back row, do we want to go a little bit faster here if we can, or what's the...
We're currently tracking at 0.3 knots.
What's
Yeah.
our range to the waypoint?
Range to waypoint is 2,300 meters.
Yeah, the terrain is pretty favorable. Like, we could easily do 0.5 as long as it's like this.
That's waypoint 1 or 2?
Waypoint 1 was the same as launch. So
Okay.
waypoint 2 is at the
At
top of
the
elevation.
top of the... what do you think?
Yeah, it's up to me. I mean, I'm not interested in the geology here, but there seems to be a lot of deep sea fishes, which a lot
Yeah.
of people are interested in.
Yeah.
So it might be good to get at least a couple images first.
Yeah, we want to go at a pace that we can zoom in on the fish.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So what is that, quarter?
We're doing 0.3 now, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good pace for that.
Yeah, let's
right?
just stay at the same speed.
Also, right in between where we are and before we start going up that slope is the moat. So we also
Yeah.
want to keep an eye on that and look at the geology.
Yeah.
Little trail here.
There's a
Another
right
fish
there.
friend.
Can we get a zoom on that?
Zoom video, please.
Coming in.
Let me see what I can do for you. Try to help.
Oh,
Oops,
he's helping us out as well.
I was gonna say, give us a show, fish.
Oh, sorry.
I think that is a tiny shark.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Its tail structure is heterocircle with the bigger
floating
lobe
up.
at the top.
Ooh, look at those
Right near
words.
I know,
Oops.
right?
Wow. We didn't know you were also a biologist.
Shout out, yeah, marine science major. Shout out to my marine bio teachers.
Yeah,
Awesome.
nice.
Very nice.
But yeah, I
There's another fish coming up,
Don't
or shark,
know.
fish shark.
of any other fish besides sharks that demonstrate the same tail structure.
So based on your biology class, you would say shark?
Looks good.
I would say that is my best guess.
Well, I believe shark as well. So let's go with shark unless we find out otherwise. Shark!
We're thinking it was a cat shark.
Cat shark.
Cat shark. Awesome.
Thanks, Tim.
AKA the Schmutz shark.
What is that right in front of us?
I'm gonna guess Holotherian.
That's what I'm gonna guess too.
Looks like it's might be on the little end of a track too, kind of that circled around it, but can't really tell.
Okay. Is the vehicle gonna sit still as soon as I let off the controls? Okay. Steven, can you come in for a zoom?
Now for another game of which end is which. Looks like a lot like the other one that we saw the other day, or yesterday.
Yeah.
The other day. Yesterday.
This is looking familiar.
Oh my gosh. I'm just thinking now.
That's a nice pale blue color.
Yeah, I like the color of
Another
it.
fish approaching.
Let's see if we can get a good visual. Steven, you want to come in for Zoom? I don't know if that's possible. Yeah. Okay.
Can you tilt down a little bit, maybe?
Again, tilt.
There you go.
Okay.
What is that?
Right.
What?
Okay. So get it in the center and let him go from there. All right. Should I keep going ahead then? Okay. Yes, please. Yeah.
Guess we know what's making those tracks. These sea cucumbers on the seafloor. They're really important on the seafloor because what they're doing is sort of picking up the sediment, eating out all that marine snow, that debris from the higher levels of the seawater, and then expelling clean sand, or cleanish, without the debris.
Video. Is this better framing for a Zoom?
Yep. Pretty good. Want me to come in?
Yes, please.
Coming in. See that? Oh yeah.
Beautiful.
Sorry.
They're so rounded, these sea cucumbers that we're coming across.
Coming wider.
Okay. Well, I'm not messing with my Z anymore, so I can't really like raise him. I can just back away, right? Okay. Okay. Do you want me to get going ahead of you?
Looks like another fish that just went off screen to the right.
Let's try to zoom again,
Sure.
Steven.
Coming in.
Thank you. I'm gonna try to get it. Oh my gosh. Sounds good. Come full wide, please, Steven. Thank you.
Full wide.
Thank you.
For our viewers at home, we have recently reached the bottom here on our second dive of this leg of the 2019 expedition. We are off of Palmyra Atoll, and we're looking for geology and biology in this region. Should be coming upon some cones coming up off the seafloor, some cone-shaped features with surrounding moats that we're interested in taking a look at. So a little bit more context for our viewers at home that may be unfamiliar with how exactly we're exploring the deep sea here. We are not in any sort of submersible ourselves, and we're actually sitting in a control van on the top of our ship, the EV Nautilus, and we have sent our vehicles, which we refer to as ROVs or remote operated vehicles, down to the seafloor. Which has a few advantages. We don't have to stay down here for 30 hours at a time without eating and sleeping and, as Jamie pointed out, breathing, which is really important for humans. But we can stay down here longer with our remote operated vehicles, and we can get our samples and all of that stuff. So we are not in the vehicles ourselves, but they are being controlled by our pilots in the control van. And I encourage the viewers at home while you're watching to check out the multiple different views that we have available. The main camera is our camera on Hercules, which is our ROV with the yellow top, if you've seen pictures of those ROVs. And then attached to Hercules, or Hercules is rather, attached to Argus, which is attached to the ship by a fiber optic cable that and Argus takes the movements of the ship and allows Hercules to move a bit more freely on the seafloor from that secondary tether. So click around to those multiple views. We've also got quad view, where you can see the back of our ROV team's heads right now, and Argus and Hercules view at the same time.
And if you are watching on the quad view and you see the camera in our control van, there's 3 people in the front row that you'll see a lot. And to the left is the Argus pilot. In the middle is the Hercules pilot. And on the right is the navigator.
Could we get a zoom on that fish? It looks like a fish instead of a shark this time.
Yep. Steven, I know I'm like backing away from it, but I was trying to frame it. Let's practice. All right, let me get closer and try to do this good.
Ah, awesome.
All right.
So, do you have ideas about what the
How's that video?
diet of
If
our
I
cat shark
tilt
is?
the,
Oh, what a good
camera down a
question.
little?
We'll answer it after we get this shot.
Cat sharks
Okay.
have
Okay.
teeth like most sharks,
Okay,
and
come in
they
for zoom.
eat
Looks great. Coming in.
benthic invertebrates and small fish. So, yeah,
It's got shape
Cool.
like a boat.
normal shark food.
This is a fun looking fish. Pointed nose. I feel like I know this one.
Yeah, I think this was in Steve's presentation.
I'm losing it so I could drive forward a little.
I'm going to zoom in a bit tighter here.
Okay.
And that's full zoom.
All right.
Nice flying.
Steven, nice zooming. All right, full wide, please.
Coming wide.
And
Do
then
we think that's some
catch up
sort
a
of
little
rat
bit.
tail fish?
I'm not familiar with rat tails that have such a pointed face. Maybe it's a
Yeah.
species I don't normally see. Oh, it is a rat tail.
How can you tell?
Oh, because Steve said so.
I was basing it on the graceful nature of that tail that's sort of whipping around.
Yeah, so most of the rat tails we see have more of a rounded nose. So this is interesting, different species.
Coryphonoides, my favorite genus of rat tail, just because it's fun to say. Coryphonoides.
It's good to have a favorite genus of rat tail. I feel like that's important.
Thank you, Jamie, for your support. And for our viewers at home, that rippling that we're seeing on the bottom, that rippling in the sediment is an indication of a pretty fast current flow going over that sediment, leaving those wave patterns. And then the sort of, squiggles that are within the wave patterns that aren't quite uniform that we've been seeing, the track marks, are looking like they are made by things like those sea cucumbers that we've been coming across. Do these fish make any tracks?
I think it depends on the fish species. We're seeing them swim at variable heights above the seafloor. Seems like it wouldn't be very efficient to swim such that you were scraping the sand or sediment, because that would slow you down a lot. Some fish might set down on the bottom, but I imagine they wouldn't swim long distances, so the tracks we're seeing are more likely to be sea cucumbers or some other benthic critter that is less free swimming than fish.
Like an urchin.
Yeah.
Is that too far out for a video zoom?
We can give it a go.
Yeah, let's try it.
Coming in.
Let's see if I can-
I know this one.
What is it? Pop quiz. Pop quiz.
Go
Who's
ahead,
paying attention?
You can have this one.
No, it's okay.
Full zoom.
Do we want to say it together?
Sorry. Listening.
It's all good.
Just in case.
Coryphonoides.
There you go. I don't. Yeah, rat tail. General group.
Is it the same one?
Yes. That's why I was laughing.
Is it the very same fish?
I don't know. I don't think it is. Oops, sorry.
It definitely looks like the same type of fish.
I think
that
it's
we
the same
just
type,
zoomed
but I
on.
don't think it's the same individual fish.
All right, I'm gonna move ahead.
Coming wide.
Thank you. Looks like there's something, a little shadow to the left there. Oh, well, other than the shrimp. I am beyond him.
Did a little swirl in the camera for you.
It's another rat tail.
I think
Yes,
there might be
indeed.
two.
Same one.
Just keeps coming around.
Where are you? Over in the
There's
left.
something different.
Let's see.
Oh, what is that in the
Huh.
left?
Let's see if we can look at them. You know what rat tails look like. Okay, how's that for a video zoom?
Looks good to me. I'm going to come in.
Oh.
And it's going to come nicely into our frame.
Small halosaur, maybe?
That's what it looks like.
Hold back a little. Sure.
Oh, it's...
Mm-hmm.
It looks to be swimming a bit laterally. Is that indicative of the current?
Probably.
Oh, I guess, yeah, we see the
Yeah.
marine
It
snow going that
matches
way
with
as well.
the ripples, too.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I was going to say the marine snow is kind of moving parallel.
Chris, can you zoom out on high pack for a second?
Yes, I can. Is that good for you?
That's good, thank you.
Might be a better angle for
Yeah, I
a
think
headshot.
let's pick up the pace a little bit.
Roger that. I can
Coming wide.
bring it up to 0.5 knots if you guys are okay with that.
What, you were at 0.3 now?
At 0.3 now.
Let's split it and go 0.4.
0.4. Roger that.
Good compromise.
Bridge nav.
We still want to be able to zoom if we see something, but also want to get there.
Request we increase speed on this line to 0.4 knots.
We did have a question earlier that was interested in how how this ship makes such small positional adjustments against wind and currents to help the ROVs. I don't know if anyone wants to speak more to that.
Yeah, I can. I'm staring at the screen right now. So we have what we call DP, dynamic positioning system. So as opposed to using the ship's normal thrust, using the engine and the propellers, we turn the system on, and it uses a combination of a bow thruster, basically a propeller sitting in our bow to move the bow either to the left or to the right, as well as basically a water jet that's sitting under our stern in the back of the boat that can turn 360 degrees. So if we want, we'll use a combination of those two and can walk the ship sideways.
Cool.
Nicely done.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that explanation, Chris.
Of course. I like the things I can get. Corals maybe a little over my head, but I can identify a shark and tell you about nav stuff.
Pretty good, pretty good.
Let's go see this guy's friend. Video zoom.
Coming in.
Another pointy nose. They've got funny,
think I know this
little
one.
faces.
Yes.
We better all know this one by the end of this.
Come back. All right, full wide. I'm gonna
Coming
keep
wide.
moving. Thank you.
And welcome to everybody that's logging on and joining us at nautiluslive.org. Thanks for tuning in. We're currently underway at the beginning of our second dive of this expedition to explore the waters off of the Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument. Today we're off of Palmyra Atoll. We're seeing a lot of little fish friends down here today. We're looking at sedimented bottom that has ripples in it from a fast current flow. And we're going to be coming upon some interesting cone features that our co-lead, Dr. Rob, is interested in. And if you want to take a look at the quad view right now, our friend Steven just threw up a topographic map that sort of shows us where we are and the cone that we are coming upon. So get excited for the cones.
I'm amazed how uniform the cone is.
It is quite uniform. Be interesting to see it with our eyes. And there's a couple of these cones that are going to be visited in this dive. And I'm excited about them. And these are seafloor features that are not only cones coming off of the seafloor, but they seem to have a moat depression around them, which is, a depression in the seafloor, and the cone coming up out of the middle. So we're interested in getting our visuals of these cone features, maybe get a better characterization of how they may have formed this way.
Video, you want to zoom on that shrimp before he flies away?
Sure, coming in. We'll take this guy.
Oops.
I love their fluttery legs.
I do too.
I feel like they have different strokes that they can do.
Shrimp stroke. When you have 15 to 16,000 arms that you can use. I don't know how many arms it has. I don't know why I said
I
thousands.
think that's a bit much.
I don't know why I said that. It just came out.
How many legs does a shrimp have?
Not 1,000.
I don't know. Count them. 1, 2.
Somewhere between 2 and 1,000.
Somewhere between. Okay.
Thanks, Kevin.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to go with 8.
That's what it looked like. It did look like a number under 10.
Shrimp have 5 pairs of legs, so 10 total.
All right.
I was close.
Oh wait, no, they have 5 pairs of walking legs, 5 pairs of swimming legs.
Oh,
Closer to 1,000.
Closer,
If
a
we're
little bit
playing by
closer.
Price is Right rules.
wait, was that
And 3 pairs of feeding appendages.
so that's 23?
Is that not a
26.
what is a feeding appendage? Like
Said
26.
3 pairs of feeding appendages.
Oh, right. Good call. Wait, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Math.
2 5 pairs, 1 3 pair. Yeah.
Yes, we can do basic math
If we try hard enough.
if we really count.
I have a question for Chris.
Yes.
So when I'm looking at this topographic map, how do I know which lines represent an increase in elevation and which ones represent a decrease?
Yeah, so what we're looking at right now is 5-meter increments.
Yeah.
And again, you can see this on the quad view, viewers at home.
Yeah, so when you're zoomed in a lot of times, and without a lot of times, most topographic maps will have labels and bolded lines for larger increments, like 100 meters, let's say. So without reference, it's a little harder to understand, but understanding the area that we're looking at, understanding that we're coming up to this cone up here, you're able to put it in reference, basically.
Okay.
And kind of understand it a little bit better. But yeah, on average, topographical maps will have labels and reference lines that make it a little easier to understand.
Thanks. So coming off the left side of the cone, kind of the bottom left, there's another feature. And is that the depression, the moat, or is that another little hill?
Yeah, so right now the contours are actually going down, or it should start to be going down into a depression.
Okay.
And then that looks like it goes back up briefly and then back down. And then we go up the steep hill of the cone.
Yeah, so I guess it's like
Yep.
very cool. What is ahead of us there?
Video zoom.
Coming in.
Ah, saw one of those on yesterday's dive, I believe.
Oops, sorry, I'm losing it.
All right.
Let's see. I'm floating away.
Coming wider.
All right, let's try that.
Okay, coming in
Is
again.
it an enemy? Looks like one.
I can't get it. Oh,
And
come
coming
wide.
back wide.
Sorry. It's practice.
Doing great, Kylie.
It's my 3rd time in the Herc seat, so
You're doing great.
better than the first. My dad's upset. He was like, told him we got on watch, 4 o'clock as it was 10 o'clock p.m. He's like, I'm working till midnight. Can you guys hold off? It's like, science stops for nobody, but we'll be working when you're done.
Yeah, we'll still be here. I
Yeah.
mean, isn't this about, it's about past midnight right now. So,
Oh,
hey, Kylie's dad, where are you?
I don't know. That's probably texting me. Dads are cool.
Yeah, my dad was Facebook messaging me with all of his follow-up questions about things that we had seen. So I was, writing up paragraphs.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Looks like it, huh? Hydroid, yeah.
My sister was sending me screen grabs of
Nice.
things we were looking at.
Her favorite stuff. What did she like?
You're asking me to name some of the organisms, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna pass.
She liked the stuff that we saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And if
You
you're
can change it. I just like it there for the ascent and descent.
They weren't corals and they weren't vertebrates.
like the urchins and
Sea cucumber.
It wasn't the sea cucumbers.
it wasn't the
It might
sea
have been the
cucumber.
urchins. Yeah, might have been the urchins.
That sea cucumber was great.
Hey, so I was wondering about the YouTube channel. Do we know how or well, I'm sure somebody knows, but how are they cataloged? Like on the channel, are they playlists?
Yes.
Yeah. So is it like by location or
By
by
dive.
date? By dive. Okay.
Yeah, so a couple days after the dives end, those full dive recordings will be up on YouTube, which is very exciting because this is new for this season. You'll be able to go back and watch your favorite moments again and again, or watch the dives that you missed. And another reminder that if you have to go to sleep at any point during this dive, you'll be able to rewind 12 hours on the live feed on our website, and then catch up in a few days when we post those dives to YouTube. So, yes.
So you can pause the live feed and then you can come back to it
I've done that before,
kind of where
yeah.
you left off. That's cool.
I've done that before.
Then you don't have to scrub
Just
through
within
and try to
the
figure out
Yeah,
which patch of ocean you had seen
exactly.
last. Yeah.
Yeah. But within that range of 12 hours, yeah, you can do that, which is super cool. And to those out there wondering how we choose these dive sites, the first step is, the expedition planning in general that takes place, that decides these areas and these targets. And then to get these specific dive locations, our scientists are looking at the maps that were made by the sonar mapping as we've gone over these features. And so the sonar mapping not only gives an idea of different elevations, different features on the seafloor, but can also give our scientists an idea about the substrate, which is what we're going to see, whether it's sediment, whether it's a rocky, hard surface. And so those things combined is what our scientists use to determine the dive sites. And then based upon what their goals are for, whether it's rock collection or organism sampling. They'll choose different spots that we're going to along the way, which is what we refer to as waypoints, which you'll hear us talk about or hear the team talk about as we go on. These are different points of interest along that track that we're following. So a lot of things go into planning these dives, and we're really excited to be down here.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Al, going back to the first step where we figure out where we're going to go in the first place, we hold Ocean Exploration Trust in partnership with NOAA and oftentimes other partners. We have regular workshops where we bring the community and the oceanographic community in to submit ideas. So our mission is to explore poorly understood or totally unexplored areas. And so we hold those workshops and bring the scientific community in to say, if the ship was in this general region, whether it be the East Pacific, Central Pacific, Western Pacific, where would you go? Why would you go there? And so we look for areas that are going to be interdisciplinary, so a combination of geology and biology and oftentimes marine archaeology. And then from those workshops and the recommendations of the community, we select areas of interest. And so over the past couple of years, we've been working off a lot of recommendations that we've gotten from the community from a workshop we held way back in 2014. So we're still working through a lot of the ideas that were submitted in that workshop, including this area, which Dr. Rob Bicalny submitted a white paper for, and as well as others. So there's a lot of community interest, and that's what we're doing is really this exploration for the community. So we don't know single PI owns the data or samples from these expeditions. So it's public. We make it public. We send all of our samples to public archives, and all of our data will be publicly accessible eventually.
How can the public access data like mapping data? I was wondering this.
Yeah, that's different. Depending on the data set, it goes to different places, and it's one of the things that we're working on is making it more readily accessible. And so we'll be doing that over the next, it'll take a few years. It's kind of a, the whole oceanographic community is really concentrating on making data in general more accessible and digestible by the public. And other researchers that aren't necessarily at sea with us. But there's all of our mapping data goes to one archive. All of our rock samples go to University of Rhode Island, where there's a rock and core lab funded by NSF. All of our biological samples go to the Museum of Comparative Zoology at Harvard. So any scientist can request the samples that we take for our expeditions that are funded by NOAA's Office of Exploration and Research.
Awesome. And last year's expedition season, 2018, that was the first time Nautilus was in the Pacific?
No, not the
or the far Pacific near Hawaii, and
it was the first.
Sort of
Yeah,
this region?
it was the first time we had gone as far as Hawaii. We came through the Panama Canal in 2015.
Okay.
So we've been primarily focused on the Eastern Pacific region, between British Columbia. Spent some time in Galapagos, Sea of Cortez, along the west coast of mainland U.S., Mexico, and Canada.
So closer to the continental
Right.
U.S. area.
Right.
Very nice. Thank you.
And I will also say that this area was pretty recently explored by our close partners, the NOAA ship Okeanos Explorer. So they've been in the general region. They had a 3-year campaign called Capstone. So we're building on a lot of the work that they did, and just ensuring that we're not covering ground that they covered during their campaign.
Nice. And to the point about interdisciplinary, our cruise right now has two co-leads, a biologist and a geologist. working together in these areas. Steve Oskovich for biology, specifically deep sea coral biology, and then Dr. Rob Picolny, who's interested in these cones that we're going to be coming up upon.
So speaking of these cones, what do we expect, maybe Kevin has an answer for this, what do we expect the terrain to look like once we hit that cone?
Reflectivity data for the seafloor here, it's really reflective. So I'm expecting it to be pretty much exposed volcanic rock once we get to the actual cone. It should be kind of basalt like we saw on the last dive, you know, on the cliffs.
Yep.
But we'll see. It might be manganese encrusted completely, but...
And it won't be sand because the angle of repose, right?
Yes, of course. Purely the angle of
nice
repose.
work.
I like it.
For those at home, the angle of repose is our new favorite term that we learned yesterday, and that has to do with the angle at which a pile of a certain type of granular material will cascade. Does that sound accurate?
You're there.
That's
You're
good.
there.
You're somewhere, Al. You're somewhere. And this current expedition that we're on, we are in our second dive of this expedition, but we've been on the ship for about a week now, transiting to our first location, which was off of Kingman Reef, and this is our second location, which is off of Palmyra Atoll. And in total, this specific team will be on for about 3 weeks together total. Yeah. What are some of the comforts of home you miss while being at sea? I miss my cat Choo Choo and Schmutz.
Netflix.
I miss the garden I planted.
Oh, what'd you plant?
Oh, squash, tomatoes, lettuces, a little bit of everything.
Very nice. My partner Joe planted cucumbers and tomatoes, and our cucumber plant is climbing up the back fence.
Nice.
So I'm excited to see they were going to make some pickles while I'm away. So hopefully I'll come home to some nice pickles from my Philadelphia backyard.
You ever had a pickled cauliflower?
I have.
Like, people love those.
Yeah.
Like Portuguese style.
I've made curry pickled cauliflower before.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's really good. As someone of Polish origin, I do love my vinegar-based foods.
You're Polish?
Have you seen my last name, Kylie?
I did, and then I just looked down bashfully because I was like, that's right, I couldn't say it. That's how I knew she was Polish. How do you pronounce it?
Leszczynski. It's got many consonants in a row.
There's a Z, isn't there?
There's 2 Z's, and they're both silent.
Oh, that'll get you every time.
How many, is it 5 consonants in a row?
Oh, no, it's 7.
7 in a row.
Wow.
Leszczynski.
ZCC is the what sound in your name?
Are you counting the Y as a consonant there?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm cheating a little bit. Okay, that's a gray area, you know, A-E-I-O-U and sometimes Y. But the Z-C-Z sandwich, the C-Y-N is the chin. So the Z's are silent. You have L-E-S in the beginning for less chin ski.
Oh, goodness. You made it sound so easy.
I've been saying it for a while now. 26 years. Well, I don't know if I've been saying it for 26, maybe like 25 or 24.
That's impressive.
I think Y at the end of a word is considered a consonant, right?
Yeah, well, the Y isn't at the end. The I's at the end.
Oh.
Yeah, a
But it
Y at
gives
the
it
end
that-
would be more of a Russian last name.
It gives it
I
that,
is more Polish.
like
It
almost
does give it a bit of a vowel
bit of a
sound in
vowel
there.
sound.
Yeah, it does. It gives it the chin.
So are you big into Gołąbki then?
I love all of those things, all of it.
Gołąbki is my favorite food. Like
Of all time?
Yeah, well, I mean cabbages and like it's the main. So it's my favorite part of the gołąbki is the cabbage.
It's a good word too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the food of my people as well. Look about on a rye.
Love it.
Somebody listening on the interweb's gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm sitting in a wood-paneled room listening to polka music right now." Throwbacks.
So the deep sea, of which we are exploring. And that is what we're doing here on nautiluslive.org. We're exploring waters off of Palmyra Atoll in the Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument. We did our first dive yesterday off of Kingman Reef, and we're on our second dive. We reached bottom, about an hour ago? Something like that. And we'll be down here for about a 24-hour dive. So stay tuned and write in your questions if you have them in that bar right below the video feed.
Wow, well, if you were looking for accuracy, our log time on the bottom was 1 hour and 1 minute ago.
So I might have been almost accurate when I said that.
Or precise.
Precise. Take off.
Could we get a zoom on that?
We sure can. Let me just get set up here. Steven, how's that for Zoom?
Looks good. I'll come in.
Okay.
Oh, what have we got?
Swimming holothurian.
Yeah, one of the sea cucumbers lifted off bottom and is swimming a little bit.
That's cool.
That is cool.
How graceful.
It's got sort of a skirted area there that it's kind of touching the water with.
It's like a swimming apostrophe.
Yeah. Kylie liked that one.
I wasn't expecting a grammar pun. I don't know, joke. That's pretty good.
I thought you were going to be with me on that one because of the toilet brush one we had yesterday.
Oh, right. You know, we're so good like that. Right on the same wavelength.
An interesting wavelength at that.
Are we looking at the mouth part there?
Don't ask these kinds of questions.
I believe so.
It'll prove it to you in a minute.
Because the mouth part sort of has, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Jamie, like tube feet that sort of come out and grab stuff?
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
So the
Oops,
mouth is a
where am
array
I?
of tube feet where the other end is not.
All
Color
right,
wide.
I have got to go. I was like flexing all my muscles to try to keep it in the
Are you guys okay with Argus's distance behind at this heading?
Yeah, that's okay for now, but we've been moving for such a time, so
Mm-hmm.
we're way laid back.
Mm-hmm.
So before we start approaching this mound, we'll stop and level out, and then we'll go up in steps.
Where's that? And how far off or into the moat do we want to stop in terms of taking a look at it?
I think we'll know when we get there.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Roger that.
What's the? Sorry, not on comms. How steep does it climb once we actually start going up that mound? What's the gradient there?
It comes up pretty fast.
Can you give me the depth at the bottom? Like, I don't know if you can see where I'm pointing, just the bottom of the mound to the top?
Bottom of the mound. Yeah, just a second.
Was that a rat tail again?
So
I might need a zoom to tell, I'm not sure.
Video
Deepest.
come in for a zoom?
deepest will be about 150 or 60 meters deeper, so just
Tail
over
isn't as
60
It
meters.
is something
fluttery.
else. It's not a rat tail.
Okay.
Or wait, no, that's way too much. Sorry, 5 meter increments.
Coming in tighter here.
Okay.
Not that much.
To help you.
Looks like it's got a very distinct lateral line along it.
My apologies. 1525.
All right, Stephen, come wide.
Coming wide.
I'm gonna get back ahead of Argus.
Yeah, and 1525 is at the base. Oh, you're talking about 1525 at the base, so what's the peak of it?
Is there like a quick way I can get to it?
I'm not sure.
Alright, stand by.
Hey, Jamie.
Hey.
Do sea cucumbers chew?
I don't think I have teeth in the traditional sense. They're basically picking up bits of sediment which have particulate organic matter in them with their tube feet and putting it into their mouth. Let's see.
Looks like a tripod fish, maybe?
Ooh, could we get a zoom on the tripod fish?
You sure can. Video zoom.
Coming in.
Nice.
Hey, hey.
Ooh, mohawk. Probably might be able to get a little tighter for a second there, but I gotta get back out in front of Argus. Okay, full
Coming
wide.
wide.
Thank you.
That was a tripod fish we were just looking at, and then next to it there was another sea cucumber, or holothurian.
Use your light.
I think it might be the same one because it just zoomed right in and stopped in
Yeah.
front of us. Looked like he wanted more camera time.
He's like, hey, I just got my haircut.
Exactly.
So I didn't even know about tripod fish before the last dive. So they might be my new favorite fish.
They're pretty fun.
Yeah, they're cool.
And that one we saw when we first got to the bottom last dive was so tall. It was like
Yes.
very above the seafloor. We got some good captures of it too.
It was a stage 2 tripod fish, which is a joke for the video, any video people out there.
I was like, I don't get that joke, but I'm sure someone will.
Someone somewhere is laughing.
I bet Ed's watching, laughing with pride. You little, like, my little protege making good puns.
What do you say, Ed?
Yeah.
Hi, Ed, if you're watching.
So again, a reminder to our viewers at home, we've got a few different views you